is not simply what the court did. The real issue is whether black political power has become too dependent on one political structure. Because if your influence depends on how one party draws a map, your power is not independent. It's conditional.
This is the Publisher's Desk with Damon K. Jones, brought to you by Black Westchester Magazine.
Peace and blessings, everybody. This is Damon K. Jones here, and welcome to another edition of the Publisher's Desk. And today we're dealing with a serious issue. The Supreme Court has ruled on the congressional districts, and everybody, even the Congressional Black Caucus, has come out strong, calling it an attack on black voters and a threat to democracy. Now, I watched the full statement of the Congressional Black Caucus, and I've watched what other people have said, and I understand their position. They argue that this ruling opens the door to weakening black representation, makes it easier for states to redraw districts in ways that reduce black influence, and makes it harder to challenge discrimination in court. That is their argument, and it deserves to be heard. But let's deal with the facts, brothers and sisters, and not the feelings and emotions around this issue. The Supreme Court did not take away anyone's right to vote. Let's make that clear. Black voters still can vote. Both parties are still on the ballot. Elections are still intact. So this is not about access to voting. This is about how districts are drawn. And even within the Congressional Black Caucus statements, there is an important admission. They point out that this ruling allows partisan gerrymandering while narrowing the ability to challenge discrimination. That matters because that means this is not just about race. It's also about politics. And it's about how parties draw maps to gain advantage over each other. The Democrats do it and the Republicans do it. Let's not get it twisted. And that is where the conversation needs to be more honest. Because when you look at voting patterns in the country, black voters overwhelmingly support one party, often in the range of 80 to 90% of the vote. See, that is a political reality that black people have to face. So when district lines are challenged or redrawn, it is not just affecting race, it's affecting a political coalition. That is not controversial. That's arithmetic, brothers and sisters. And here's the part many people do not want to say out loud. It's not the court's responsibility to fix the political behavior of any group, and especially black folks. See, if black people concentrate its power in one party, that is a strategic decision, no matter what the reason is. You might say the Republican Party is racist. You might say you don't like Donald Trump. But that is a strategy that black people have chosen to do. They have chosen to stay with the Democratic Party. And the fact of the matter is, they're trying to look like the Democratic Party is the black party. And let me tell you something. Every strategy comes with consequences, Black America. Now let's bring it closer to home. See, because we do not have to guess how this works. We have already seen it in New York. In New York, when districts were redrawn affecting Jamaal Bowman and Mondaire Jones, the first elected black man in District 16 and the first elected black man in District 17, the percentage of black voters in those districts was reduced and more white voters were put in their districts. Now think about this. It happened in a Democratic-controlled state. So let's ask the same question. Did they take away the black vote in New York, in District 16 and District 17? No. Black voters still voted. What changed was the influence of the black vote. And that proves something very important. This is not just about race, Because if it was, why didn't the head of the Congressional Black Caucus, who's from New York, why didn't she say anything to what happened to Congressman Jamaal Bowman and Congressman Mondaire Jones? She said nothing when they turned their districts around and they pulled black votes out of their district. She said nothing. The Congressional Black Caucus was silent. Hakeem Jeffries ain't even show his light skin behind in Westchester when it went down. They didn't do anything. So how are they having a press conference about what's happening in another state, but they don't say anything that happens in their own state when it comes to black votes or even black politicians who are moved out by their own party? See, this is about how both parties, when they have control, they draw maps to protect the political advantage. In New York, they changed the districts because they didn't see that Mondaire Jones and Jamaal Bowman was a political advantage. And if we're going to be honest, the Congressional Black Caucus even acknowledges the political nature of this fight when they talk about organizing, mobilizing, and competing in response to the ruling. So the real issue, brothers and sisters, is not simply what the court did. The real issue is whether black political power has become too dependent on one political structure. Because if your influence depends on how one party draws a map, your power is not independent. It's conditional. That's not victimhood, that's vulnerability. And if we want to be honest, we have to say it. See, because too often in our politics, and especially in black politics, representation is confused with power. And they're not the same. Representation, brothers and sisters, is a seat. Power controls outcomes. And if we look around the black communities throughout the nation, what are the outcomes? Poor schools, high crime, high mental health, high chronic illnesses, poor conditions of cities, poor services. Those are the outcomes. So if representation alone produced power, then many heavily represented districts would be thriving across the board, but they're not. Every time you turn around, a young black man or woman is being killed. So we have to ask the hard questions. If strategy has been representation through one party alignment, where are the constant outcomes? Now, this is not negativity. This is not, I'm being MAGA. This is not, I'm a hater. This is accountability of our elected officials, of a political party that we give 90% of our vote to, and we only get 20% of the benefits. Policy should always be judged by outcome, brothers and sisters. This is where Black America has made the mistake since 1965. See, it brings me to the most important part of this conversation. What is the political solution? Because criticism without solutions means nothing. And the solution is this. Black America, your vote has to move from loyal voting to negotiated voting. Stop giving support to political parties automatically. Support should be tied with outcomes, just like the young brother said at the National Action Network. No check, no vote.
28, if you don't have our check, you won't get no vote. No check, no vote.
That was a simple statement saying that the vote has to be tied to outcomes. And you don't ask questions because they just tell you to hate Trump. You don't ask, what are you doing for homeownership? What are you doing for economic development? What are you doing on education? What are you doing on public safety? What are you doing on health and food access? See, those are negotiations. Black people, we don't ask those questions because we deal in emotional politics. And that has led to our logical failure and our communities looking the way they do. Our votes express a preference, but leverage creates obligation. And there's a difference. Let me make this clear again, brothers and sisters. Black voters cannot function as a permanent property of one party. There has to be the ability to negotiate with both, or a third party, or another party, if you're not getting what you need to get from one party. I don't understand how we don't get it. You don't put all your money in one account. If you have a financial advisor, what does he tell you to do? He tells you to diversify your money, put them in different accounts. So why don't you do that with your vote? I'm not telling you to go to the Republican Party. You could go to the Independence Party. You could go to another political party. Don't let these Negroes tell you if you don't vote for the Democrats, the Republicans is going to win. That's a scare tactic. See, when politicians know they own your vote, brothers and sisters, they don't have to earn it. They don't have to earn it. They don't have to do nothing for you. That's why Kamala said she don't have to do anything specifically for black people.
So by default, it affects black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you would explore.
But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit black children, black families, black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen, the reality also is this: any policy that will benefit black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
That's what she said, because she knows she don't have to earn your vote. She knows she's going to get your vote automatically. So she has no intention to do anything for black people. That's why competition creates leverage. And when you're dependent on one party, it reduces any leverage you have as a voter. Y'all Negroes gave away your vote since 1965. And let's make something clear. We have to stop confusing symbolism with substance. Power is not just electing more Negroes to go down to Washington, D.C. Power is building institutions like every other ethnic group does with their political leverage. We don't have independent media. We don't have economic alliances. We don't have real political funding of our politicians. We don't even have policy agendas on a national scale. We have no black agenda for black America. See, these are things that government responds to, black people. That's why those people with the little beanies on their head get everything, because they have an agenda. That's why they can send $8 billion over to that country over there, and they won't talk about reparations for black people. Can't you see? See, that's durable power. And finally, brothers and sisters, we have to vote based on outcomes, not identity politics, not emotional politics, not party loyalty, outcomes. Who delivers for the black community, period? Who improves the conditions? Who produces results? See, that should be the standard, not just emotional childishness with our power that we have. And maybe the future of black politics is not permanent alignment with one party. Maybe it's becoming a true swing constituency, a negotiating bloc, a group that neither party can take for granted. Because that's where the leverage lies, brothers and sisters. So maybe the real issue is not what the Supreme Court did, because it didn't take away your vote. Maybe the real issue is whether Black America has mistaken political loyalty for political power. See, that's the deeper conversation. And it's one we need to have honestly, not all this emotional stuff that's coming from grown men and grown women. You know, Reggie Lafayette, for those that are watching that are not from New York and not from Westchester County, the Westchester County Democratic chairman for many, many decades was a Black man named Reggie Lafayette. And many times we disagreed publicly, had public fights that were on the news, arguments that were on the news. But one thing he said to me, brothers and sisters, that have always stayed in the back of my head. God bless Reggie Lafayette. In politics, brothers and sisters, he told me, there's no permanent friends, there's no permanent enemies, but there is only permanent interest. What is Black America's permanent interest? What is Black America's permanent agenda? Every other ethnic group understands that, but Black folks in America. And that's the conversation we must start having. This is the publisher's desk. Policy over outcomes matter. Drop your thoughts in the comments, brothers and sisters. Is this about voting rights or is it about political power? It's time for us to have real conversations. Please like and share, because we're talking about saving Black America. We're not talking about all this weak milquetoast stuff that they're talking about. We have the power, but we're allowing our leaders to paint us as victims instead of painting us as a strong Black voting bloc. So thanks again. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, and stay Blacktastic. Peace out.
Black Westchester's New Spring 2026 e-paper is now available. Featuring the life and legacy of Bob Law, breaking news, and stories that matter to our community. Read it now at blackwestchester.com. We appreciate you taking the time to engage with real conversations, real issues, and real perspectives that matter to Black America. Stay connected, stay informed, and as always, we'll see you next time at the publisher's desk. It's going to be Blacktastic. If you're serious about political clarity and independent thinking, this is for you. The Political Thought Bundle includes 3 full books, all personally signed. Democrats and Republicans, the Ultimate Gangbangers, breaks down how the two-party system operates like a legalized street war for power. Emotional Politics, Logical Failure exposes how emotion has replaced strategy in Black political engagement. Tolerance is for Cowards lays out a blueprint for extended policing and community-led public safety rooted in outcomes rather than slogans. 3 signed books. One bundle, $60. That's a $75 value, and you're getting signed copies included. This isn't left versus right. It's results versus rhetoric. Go to twosteppublishing.com and secure your signed Political Thought Bundle today. It's going to be Blacktastic. For more than a century, Black America built its own economy under segregation, under discrimination, and under conditions most people today cannot imagine. We built businesses, we built banks, we bought land and property. In The Forgotten Blueprint, Damon K. Jones reveals how Black communities created thriving economic systems from 1800 to 1965, and why that blueprint still matters today. This book challenges the idea that our future depends on politics alone, and shows how ownership, family, and enterprise once powered Black prosperity. The blueprint is not lost. We just stopped using it. The Forgotten Blueprint, how Black America built its own economy from 1800 to 1965. On sale now at Two Step Publishing and Amazon. Black Westchester Magazine has been giving our community a voice, reporting the stories others ignore, holding power accountable, and making sure the truth about our communities is told by us. But independent Black media only survives when the community supports it. If you believe in real journalism, community accountability, and keeping Black voices strong in local news, we need your help. Your donation helps us continue covering the stories that matter: politics, education, justice, and economic empowerment right here in Westchester. Support Black media, support Black truth, support Black Westchester Magazine. Donate today and help keep Black media alive. Because Black-owned independent media is Blacktastic. Black Westchester Magazine presents People Before Politics, the Sunday Rundown, every Sunday at 6 p.m. on YouTube. Join Damon K. Jones, A.J. Woodson, and Larnez Kinsey as they break down the biggest stories in politics, culture, and community from a Black point of view. No spin, no party loyalty, just logic, accountability, and outcomes. If it impacts Black America, we're talking about it. Tap in, subscribe, set your reminder. This Sunday at 6 p.m. is going to be Blacktastic.
This is the Publisher's Desk with Damon K. Jones, brought to you by Black Westchester Magazine, where life, culture, community, and faith meet truth, power, and purpose.